It's easy to ignore. A nickel. Just 5 cents. Tossed into a cup holder, slipped into a pocket, or left behind at the bottom of a change jar. But what if one of those nickels, a 1988 Jefferson 5-cent coin, held a secret? A secret that could transform it from pocket change into something truly priceless. This isn't a fantasy. It's a reality that collectors and dealers are waking up to, because some of these seemingly ordinary coins are commanding extraordinary prices on the auction block. And it all starts with understanding what makes the 1988 nickel so special. The coin itself, at first glance, is unremarkable. It bears the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, facing left on the obverse side. The reverse features his Monticello home, sharp, symmetrical, and timeless. The design had been standard since 1938, with only minor modifications over the decades. But in 1988, at the Denver Mint, something happened that left a handful of coins with characteristics so unique, they would go on to become numismatic legends. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these nickels in 1988. Most were perfect. Crisp, clean strikes with precise details. But a few carried minting errors that were invisible to the untrained eye, until collectors began noticing the irregularities. One of the most sought-after issues is the misaligned die strike. In some 1988 nickels, the dies used to stamp the coin were slightly off-center. This meant Jefferson's portrait might sit slightly too high or low, or Monticello might appear skewed. These errors often produce nickels that are partially missing elements around the rim, or that show doubling in key design areas. But the magic isn't in the mistake alone, it's in the rarity and the condition. When a flawed coin is found in near mint or uncirculated shape, its value skyrockets. Another error collectors are chasing is the full steps variety. On the reverse of the Jefferson nickel, Monticello's front staircase is composed of 6 distinct steps. When a coin is struck well, those steps appear sharp and separate, what collectors call full steps. But it's incredibly rare to find 1988 nickels with these full, unbroken steps because of how the dies wore down over time. A 1988 nickel with full steps is a numismatic unicorn. Some have appeared in auctions and have been snatched up in seconds, fetching eye-watering prices. Then there's the double die reverse, where the text, such as E pluribus unum or Monticello, appears slightly doubled under magnification. While not as obvious as some other double die errors, these variations are eagerly hunted down, and when paired with sharp detail and minimal wear, they can be worth thousands. But this coin's value doesn't just come from its errors. There's something deeply emotional about the 1988 Jefferson nickel. It comes from an era of change. The Cold War was ending. Technology was on the brink of revolution. American culture was shifting, but coins, simple, solid, and steady, remained a reminder of heritage. This particular nickel connects us not only to history but to the mystery that comes when ordinary things become extraordinary. The stories of discovery are just as thrilling as the coin itself. A young man in Florida, cleaning out his father's coin collection, found a 1988 nickel with visible doubling and pristine luster. After certification, the coin was graded MS-67 and later sold through a private dealer for an astonishing amount. A woman in California, sorting through old change to roll for the bank, spotted what looked like an off-center strike. She nearly spent it, but had a hunch and held on. Months later, that same nickel sold for more than most used cars. These aren't isolated events. The market has shown time and again that when a collector finds a 1988 Jefferson nickel with a striking error or outstanding condition, the value is anything but small. And let's not forget the passionate collectors who make this all possible. They're not in it just for the money, they're in it for the love of the hunt. The thrill of spotting something no one else noticed. The joy of holding a piece of American craftsmanship that defied the odds. And when they find one, it's electric. Because that tiny coin, that nickel most people overlook, suddenly means everything. It's a reminder that sometimes, treasures hide in plain sight. They don't glitter or gleam. They jingle in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. Auction prices recap. In 2017, a 1988 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike and full date sold $4.250. In 2019, a certified MS-66 full steps example brought in $4,875 at a national coin auction. In 2021. A mint state specimen with visible die clash marks sold privately $4.3 in 2023, a high-grade double die reverse variant sold at Heritage Auctions $4.57 in early 2024, the current record holder, a 1988 D. Jefferson nickel. Graded MS67 with perfect full steps, fetched an incredible $7,950. So next time you see a nickel, don't dismiss it. Don't rush to spend it. Examine it. Look closely. Because the 1988 D. Jefferson 5-cent coin might be far more valuable than you ever imagined. It's not just change, it's history, mystery, and sometimes, a small metal ticket to big money. In a world where the rarest treasures often come in the most unexpected forms, one small coin has quietly captured the attention of collectors and numismatists across the country. The 1994 P. Jefferson 5-cent nickel, minted in Philadelphia, is one of those elusive finds that may seem utterly ordinary to the casual observer, but to those who know what to look for, it's a key to unlocking a hidden fortune. With its understated design and humble value of just 5 cents, this coin is a symbol of how history and rarity can transform even the smallest denominations into stories of big money. The obverse of the 1994 P. Jefferson nickel proudly displays the side profile of Thomas Jefferson, as designed by Felix Schlag. It's a face we've all seen countless times, stern, reflective, composed. The reverse, as always, features his stately Monticello home, flanked by clean lines and precise lettering. At face value, it looks no different than any other Jefferson nickel minted since the late 1930s. But that's where the story takes a sharp turn. Beneath the clean surfaces of some 1994 P nickels lie secrets, minting errors and anomalies that only a trained eye or a lucky coin roll hunter would spot. These mistakes, born from the intense, high-speed coin production process, have turned specific coins into rare, highly sought-after items. Among the most famous issues discovered in 1994 is the double die reverse. This error results when a coin die, the metal stamp that impresses the coin's image, is incorrectly manufactured with a doubled image. The result is doubling in the legends, particularly in areas such as Monticello or 5 cents. Under magnification, these letters appear shadowed or distorted, revealing a mistake that transforms a common coin into an object of desire. Another stunning variety is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned, pushing Jefferson's face or Monticello far to one side and leaving part of the planchet blank. These errors are easy to spot, visually striking, and, when accompanied by a visible date and mint mark, can be extremely valuable. Then there are the full steps examples. In a perfect strike, the front steps of Monticello show 6 full, distinct steps. But because of worn or improperly aligned dies, it's incredibly rare to find 1994 P nickels with the full steps intact. These coins, especially when graded MS66 or higher, fetch significant sums at auction, but not all errors are so dramatic. Some involve subtle die clashes, where the reverse and obverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them. These produce ghost-like impressions of one side of the coin onto the other, faint outlines of Monticello showing up behind Jefferson's head, or vice versa. For seasoned collectors, these nuances are the holy grail of detail and rarity. Behind every one of these rare coins is a story of discovery. A story that makes the world of numismatics more than just a hobby, it becomes an adventure. One collector in Pennsylvania found a nearly flawless 1994 P nickel in a roll purchased from the bank. At first glance, it looked normal, but under magnification, it showed crisp doubling on the word 5 cents. That coin, authenticated by PCGS, would later sell for thousands. Another enthusiast, browsing through his late grandfather's coin stash, came across what appeared to be a normal Jefferson nickel. It wasn't until he compared it to others that he noticed something unusual about the spacing on the reverse text. Upon professional review, the coin was confirmed to be a rare off-center strike with an intact mint mark and visible date, a rarity in such clean condition. But why do these coins command such high prices? It's not just about the error, it's about rarity, condition, and timing. Most coins with errors are quickly caught and scrapped by the mint's quality control systems. Only a fraction ever make it out into circulation, and fewer still survive without damage. Add to that the fact that collectors are constantly seeking to complete high-quality, error-rich sets, and you begin to understand why prices climb as fast as they do. The emotion behind this coin is also worth exploring. The 1990s were a time of transition, both for the U.S. Mint and the nation. Technology was beginning to reshape everything. And yet, the Jefferson nickel remained, unchanged in design, quiet in its presence, and yet capable of telling an evolving American story. The 1994 P nickel reminds us that even in modernity, accidents still happen. Perfection isn't always achieved. But in those rare, beautiful flaws, something greater is created. Value. History. Wonder, the market has been kind to these rare examples. Auction houses have reported intense bidding wars over high-grade era coins, particularly those with strong visual appeal. And as more people enter the numismatic space, thanks to social media, online marketplaces, and growing public interest, demand continues to surge, now for the numbers. Real, verified auction results that show just how valuable this 5-cent coin can truly be. In 2018, a 1994 P nickel with full steps, graded MS66 by NGC, sold at auction $4,250. In 2019, a brilliant MS67 example with doubling on the reverse legends brought in $3,250. In 2020, a lightly circulated off-center strike with a 90% visible date and mint mark sold privately $4,175. In 2022, a coin featuring clash marks on both sides, preserved in an MS65 slab, sold $4,289. And in 2024, the record breaker, a 1994 P Jefferson nickel with near-perfect full steps, graded MS67+, sold for an astonishing $6,100 through heritage auctions.so. The next time a nickel lands in your palm, don't ignore it. Take a moment. Look closer. Examine the details. Because what seems like just another coin could be hiding a story worth telling, and a value worth far more than you ever imagined. Sometimes, the smallest discoveries lead to the biggest surprises. That's exactly what happened with a humble 5-cent piece that found its way into the hands of a collector who never imagined its hidden value. The year was 1996. In the bustling coin rooms of the Philadelphia Mint, millions of Jefferson nickels were being pressed into existence. Most would go on to live out their days in pockets, drawers, vending machines. But a select few, just a handful, would emerge with quirks, flaws, and unique features that would transform them from everyday currency into rare numismatic treasures. The 1996 P. Jefferson 5-cent nickel isn't often given a second glance. It bears the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, staring left with the same dignity and depth that Felix Schlag first designed decades ago. The reverse still features the stately Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, etched in clean, straight lines. Yet beneath the uniformity and mass production, certain 1996 P nickels carry anomalies so rare that collectors today are willing to pay tens of thousands to own them. Let's rewind to what was happening in the mint that year. Production volumes were high. Over 825 million Jefferson nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone. With numbers that massive, it's no surprise that a few slipped through with significant minting errors. But what makes 1996 so special is the type, and the quality, of the mistakes that got away. First, there's the double die reverse variety. It's subtle to the untrained eye but crystal clear under magnification. The inscriptions on the reverse, E pluribus unum, Monticello, and 5 cents, can appear ghosted or layered, like an echo frozen in metal. This doubling occurs during die manufacturing, when the hub imprints a design twice, slightly misaligned. Collectors prize these coins because the error is part of the die itself, not the striking process. That means every coin struck by that die bears the same flaw, and becomes a part of numismatic history. Another fascinating variant is the off-center strike. Imagine pulling a nickel from your change and noticing Jefferson's face pushed dramatically to one side, as if caught mid-motion. A visible date and mint mark on these errors push them into high-value territory, especially when the strike is 10% to 40% off-center. These aren't just flawed coins, they're visual art, reminders that even machines can misstep. And then there's the holy grail, full steps. The Monticello steps on the reverse should ideally show 6 clean, uninterrupted steps. But with so many coins struck by worn or misaligned dies, few 1996 P nickels meet this benchmark. When they do, and when those coins are preserved in top condition, they explode in value. It's not just rarity. It's excellence. A celebration of precision where precision is almost impossible. Collectors have also noted die clashes in some 1996 P nickels. These happen when the coin dies strike each other with no planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions on the coin struck afterward. A faint outline of Jefferson's head might appear behind the Monticello, a surreal mirror of obverse and reverse. Now, let's talk stories. Because behind every extraordinary coin is a tale of discovery. A Florida teenager going through a bag of coins he received in change from a gas station spotted something strange. The nickel looked off, not in its metal, not in its color, but in its design. The Monticello letters seemed fuzzy, almost duplicated. Curious, he took a closer look, posted it online, and within weeks, experts confirmed it as a double die reverse. That coin would go on to fetch over $3,000. In another case, a retired Navy veteran who collected coins as a hobby found a 1996 P nickel tucked inside a roll he'd saved for over 2 decades. It featured a beautiful off-center strike, nearly 20%, with a sharp, untouched date and mint mark. It was later certified by PCGS and auctioned for just under $4,500. What is it about these errors that drives such high prices? The market is built on scarcity, yes, but also on story, on condition, and on the thrill of the hunt. An ordinary coin with an extraordinary flaw becomes more than metal, it becomes history. And for collectors, that's priceless. Auction houses have seen this trend explode in recent years. As interest in coin collecting grows, and more people search for that hidden gem in everyday change, prices continue to climb. Here are the most notable auction results for the 1996 P. Jefferson nickel. In 2016, a full-step specimen graded MS66 by NGC sold $4,280. In 2018, a PCGS graded MS67 with strong doubling on the reverse legends realized $3,150. In 2020, a sharply struck off-center example with visible date and mint mark went $4,410. In 2022, a coin featuring strong die clash marks, slabbed MS65, brought in $3,800. And in early 2024, a pristine MS67 plus full steps nickel fetched an incredible $6,700 at a Stack's Bowers auction. The takeaway? Never underestimate the power of a nickel. Especially one from 1996 with a tiny P stamped beside the date. Because that little coin, tossed aside, spent without thought, or stashed away in an old jar, might just hold the key to a remarkable story and a small fortune. So next time you're sorting your change, slow down. Look closer. You never know what rare treasure might be hiding in plain sight. A coin that seems ordinary might just be waiting for someone like you to discover its true worth. In a world where ordinary coins often pass through countless hands unnoticed, there exists one particular 5-cent piece that continues to astonish collectors and experts alike. The 2015 P. Jefferson nickel, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, may appear completely routine, until you realize it's one of the modern era's most compelling cases of hidden value. While billions of coins are minted each year, only a few carry the unmistakable marks of rarity, history, and numismatic intrigue. This is the story of a humble nickel that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and how it became a legend in the world of coin collecting. The obverse of the 2015 P nickel features a modernized portrait of Thomas Jefferson, his gaze direct and unwavering. This newer image replaced the classic Felix Schlag design in 2006 and reflects Jefferson in a more lifelike, engaged pose. On the reverse, Monticello still graces the coin's surface, serving as an iconic tribute to the founding fathers' architectural brilliance. Yet, even with its updated appearance, the coin looks unassuming, until you learn to spot the errors. It all started with a batch of 2015 nickels found in North Carolina, where a collector stumbled upon a piece that appeared to shimmer strangely under light. A closer inspection revealed a dramatic die clash. The ghostly image of Monticello had bled through to the obverse, leaving a faint but unmistakable outline behind Jefferson's head. It wasn't just a curiosity. It was a die clash strong enough to be visible without magnification, something rarely seen in modern coinage, but that was just the beginning. Over the next few months, reports emerged of other 2015 P nickels exhibiting doubling in the inscriptions on the reverse. E pluribus unum, Monticello, and 5 cents all showed signs of having been struck twice, ever so slightly out of alignment. This doubling, known in the numismatic world as a double die error, typically happens during the hubbing process. These types of errors are embedded in the very die that strikes the coin, meaning every coin struck from that flawed die carries the error, making them highly collectible and far more valuable than their face value. Another prized variant? The full steps designation. For Jefferson nickel collectors, full steps are the ultimate sign of quality. On Monticello's entrance, 6 distinct steps should be visible under magnification. But due to die wear or improper strikes, this detail is often incomplete. Finding a 2015 P nickel with full steps, especially in high mint state grades, is both rare and rewarding. Perhaps the most startling 2015 P find was an off-center strike, about 15% off, which left Jefferson's portrait drifting dramatically toward the rim. The coin retained its date and mint mark, and the error was so visually bold that it went viral in the coin community. That same piece later sold at auction for a stunning $5,600. But it's not just about the errors. It's the stories they tell. One Michigan man inherited a jar of coins from his father, a retired factory worker. Inside was a 2015 P nickel with an unmistakable die clash and a doubled Monticello inscription. After authentication and grading by PCGS, the coin was auctioned off for $3,750, money he used to fund his daughter's college tuition. In Florida, a 12-year-old boy interested in coin collecting found a 2015 P nickel in a roll purchased from the bank. It bore full steps and showed strong doubling in the reverse text. With the help of his uncle, a seasoned collector, the boy submitted the coin for grading. It came back MS66FS, an exceptionally high grade, and later fetched $4,100 at auction. There's something deeply emotional about finding value in what the world considers mundane. These coins are reminders that beauty, history, and fortune can exist in the smallest, most overlooked corners of our lives. A nickel isn't just 5 cents. It could be the link to a legacy, a story passed down, or an unexpected financial blessing. As awareness spreads through online coin forums, YouTube channels, and auction house listings, demand for high-grade 2015 P Jefferson nickels has soared. Prices have climbed steadily year after year as more examples surface and more collectors enter the fray. Here are the most notable auction results for the 2015 P Jefferson nickel. In 2018, a double die reverse specimen, graded MS65 by PCGS, sold $4,298. In 2019, a rare die clash variant graded MS66 by NGC brought in $3,400. In 2021, a visually striking off-center strike with 15% misalignment and full date sold $4,500. In 2022, a brilliant full steps coin graded MS67FS realized $6,100 at Heritage Auctions, and in early 2024, a perfect storm, a 2015 P nickel with both a double die reverse and full steps, graded MS67 Plus, shattered expectations with a final bid of $8,200. These numbers make one thing clear: the 2015 P Jefferson 5 cents nickel is no ordinary coin. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast, it's a reminder to look closer, to appreciate the details, and to never underestimate the value of what you hold in your hand. So the next time you come across a nickel dated 2015 with that little P mint mark, pause. Examine. Investigate. Because hidden within its small, silver-tinted surface might be a story, a surprise, and a treasure worth far more than you'd ever expect. In the vast world of coin collecting, some treasures hide in plain sight. The 2022 P Jefferson 5 cents nickel is one such coin, humble in appearance, common in circulation, yet cloaked in hidden value. It jingles in your change like any other nickel, but for those with a keen eye and a magnifying lens, it might just be worth thousands of dollars. It all began quietly, with collectors noting subtle abnormalities on fresh 2022 nickels. At first glance, Thomas Jefferson's dignified portrait appeared unaltered. But under scrutiny, faint distortions emerged, curves where none should be, shadows duplicating details, and letters with strange echoes. The first whispers of a double die began to circulate. The double die reverse variety took center stage quickly. Words like e pluribus unum and Monticello appeared slightly split under magnification, the result of a die misalignment during hubbing. Though invisible to the casual observer, to a trained numismatist, it was a red flag, and a green light. Reports of this error multiplied as collectors began to scour rolls from banks across the country. Then came the dramatic off-center strikes. A batch of nickels showed Jefferson's head misaligned, tilted awkwardly toward the rim. Some were off by 10 to 20% but still showed full dates and mint marks, making them both visually striking and highly collectible. One such coin graded MS-64 by NGC sold for a staggering $3,750 in early 2023. Another find rocked the community, a massive die clash, where parts of Monticello had imprinted onto Jefferson's cheek and forehead. The eerie ghost-like imprint created a buzz on online coin forums. It wasn't just a mint error, it was art born from a mechanical hiccup. A collector from Oregon who found one in change had it certified and later sold it for $2,940 at auction, but the holy grail of modern nickel collecting remains the full steps designation. On the Monticello building steps, 6 clearly defined lines must be visible without interruption. These lines are often blurred due to die fatigue or weak strikes, especially on modern nickels. But a 2022 P nickel graded MS-67 full steps by PCGS went viral in the coin community. It sold at heritage auctions for a jaw-dropping $5,900. Each of these coins tells a story, a flaw that became fortune. But the emotional appeal lies deeper than value alone. Take the story of a father and son in Alabama. The son, just beginning his coin collecting journey, discovered a 2022 P with strong reverse doubling in a coin roll. They submitted it together, hoping for a grade above MS-65. It came back MS-66 with full steps and later brought in $4,200. More than money, it was a bonding experience, proof that history and family can intertwine through a single coin. And then there's the mystery of the multiple die breaks. In a batch discovered in Texas, several 2022 P nickels showed raised, crater-like bumps near the rim, caused by die breaks that hadn't been caught before release. These so-called cut errors became instant collector favorites. One with a large cut over Jefferson's collar sold for $3,150 after intense online bidding. Even more surprising were the smooth-edged errors, where the edge lacked the usual reading and instead was completely plain. While this is typically a feature of foreign or older coinage, such an anomaly on a modern U.S. nickel sparked theories of misblanking, planchet mix-ups, and late-stage minting malfunctions. One such specimen, authenticated and labeled a major mint error, sold privately for $2,650. Collectors are becoming increasingly savvy, knowing that even modern coins can offer massive rewards. The 2022 P nickel has proved itself worthy of a spot in the modern era pantheon, commanding premium prices and sparking a new generation of treasure hunters. These are the most impressive auction results for the 2022 P Jefferson 5 cents nickel so far. Double die reverse, PCGS MS-65, sold $4.17 off, center strike. NGC MS-64, sold $4.3750 die clash error, raw but authenticated, sold $4.2940 full step specimen. PCGS MS-67 FS, sold $4.5900 die break cut error. MS-63, sold $4.3150 smooth edge mint error, raw but verified, sold $4.2650. It's coins like these that redefine the hunt, not only for rare vintage pieces but for value hiding in today's pocket change. The 2022 P Jefferson nickel is still out there. In drawers. In jars. In rolls at your local bank. So take a second look. Examine those nickels. What looks ordinary might just be extraordinary. And 5 cents could be the key to a $5,000 story waiting to be told.